Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast, episode number 38. Treestands by Dave Hoffman, that is. Big Buck Registry is a virtual museum of hunting stories. We preserve a piece of Americana by interviewing and recording hunters about their hunts and experiences from across the country. And who knows, maybe we'll learn a thing or two along the way that'll help us take our hunt to the next level.
Hey everyone, this is Zach Doyle with the Rackpacker Outdoors, and you're listening to my favorite podcast of all time, the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Jay Sky, your host of the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast, and I'm here with my good friend, and actually we're sitting here in Pennsylvania. My good friend Dusty Phillips is no longer in Ohio at the moment. He's sitting right next to me. Dusty, what's going on?
We are living a dream.
We are in God's country right now.
We are in God's country. We are on a mission to come here to conquer the Great American Outdoor Show, and I think we've done it.
We had an amazing weekend. Met some amazing people.
And we're sitting here with amazing gentlemen as we speak.
Yep. We're here with Dave Hoffman. Dave, say hello.
Hey. Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. And thanks for having me on.
Dave is, Dave, we were walking around the show, and you win for best display.
Appreciate
no question.
that.
Hands down.
When you have somebody standing, 12 feet up in the air, blowing a grunt call at you.
It gets your attention.
It gets your attention, especially if you're a deer hunter. Just to describe what we saw, we turned the corner and there's this amazing looking platform that is just these super structure. I don't know what it's made of. We're going to learn that in a minute, but it was basically a dream tree stand placed on the side aisle at the Great American Outdoor Show. And it's so impressive. Then you look up and there's a guy dressed in camo with his bow and a grunt call, and you can hear the grunt call, and it just caught your attention. And we got to talk to this guy.
You know, it's so funny that how this all come about. I actually seen it and ran into the people in front of me that stopped.
Yeah. I
was so amazed at the structure quality of the Treestands by Dave that it was phenomenal. We had to talk to him.
It's one of those dreams. I mean, and if you look at it, I wouldn't call that a tree stand necessarily initially, but it looked like a great, awesome, fun treehouse. But it doubles as a tree stand, which we like as hunters. So it was great. So we approached your booth. You weren't there at the moment. I think you're out
getting lunch,
something like that. We came back and we found you, and you came up with this great idea and you said to us, "Well, we don't have to do a podcast right here. We don't have to do it by phone. Why don't I drive you out to my house and we'll do a podcast from inside the tree stand, 25 feet up in the air." And that's where we are right now.
Oh, it's awesome. It's phenomenal. We are actually sitting in one of Dave's custom Treehouse by Dave with Dave himself. Jay and I are living a dream.
Describe the surroundings, Dusty.
Oh, whitetail heaven, turkey heaven. It's all heaven out here. We're on about 200-acre farm. And Dave's parents' own. It's beautiful, rolling hills with big pine thickets, a lot of bluffs, a lot of just looks like there should be whitetail walking out. I'm scanning the area. I may not look at none of you guys because I'm so scanning the area for this herd of turkeys or a flock of turkeys and a big herd of deer to come running across the field anytime.
Dusty's doing his thing. And if you hang out with Dusty, you realize, and I haven't hung out with Dusty a ton, but now I watch him. Whenever we're driving, he's not looking at you. He's scanning. He's scoping the area. And it may not be just in the woods. He's looking for the next thing. Like, what's going to happen next? What's the next thing that's going to pop out that I need to go attack?
It's a cool feature that I got.
Yeah.
I'm like a radar for interesting things. Mm-hmm. And right now I'm scanning this fields, these wood lines. This is a dream, Jay.
Like, our task at the show was to go find interesting people to talk to. And Dusty was doing the same thing. He was hunting interesting people to talk to at the show, just like he hunts deer in the woods.
Just scanning the area. Yep. You got to find the most unique things out there. And I can do it.
And what's funny is he apologizes. He goes, I apologize if I keep looking away, but it's just the thing I do because I'm looking to see who's coming in the door. I'm looking to see who's the next person I'm going to talk to. It's really funny.
It's the truth, though.
It is the truth.
I try not to.
You know you're doing it.
Yeah, most of the time people say, "Why? Look me in the eye." I'm talking to you because I done figured you out, and I'm looking for the next person that I'm interested in. And me and you are going to talk, and I'm going to listen like no other because I'm interested in you, and we're talking. But at the same time, I'm scanning the area, trying to just see things out.
Right. So. Thank goodness this isn't TV because Dusty would never be looking in the camera. Sitting where we are right now, he would never look in the camera. He'd be out there looking for deer coming out of the bluffs.
It's an addiction. Yep. I'm feeding the need. I've been at a show for a couple of days. I haven't fed the need for what I like.
Right. So we're sitting inside Dave's tree stand, Dave Hoffman's tree stand at his house, 25 feet up in there, and one of the most amazing, beautiful structures I've ever seen.
I mean, we are literally setting up, overlooking 200 acres of God's country and one of Treestands by Dave.
Exactly. All right, Dave, tell us about yourself. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? How'd you get here?
Actually, I'm right from the farm right here. I think it was 10, 11 years old when my parents bought the property here, so I've been here pretty much my whole life. Younger years, we traveled around. My father was in the service, so we lived in North Carolina for a few years, Texas for a few years, but my heart was always here in Pennsylvania, so I'm a native and probably where I'll be for a while.
Very cool. So you grew up here.
Yes.
What was life growing up like here in Pennsylvania, in this amazing country that you live in?
Oh, it was great right here. When I was a kid, actually, I started building tree stands when I was probably 10 or 11 years old right here. I was tearing boards out of the barn, and I was bringing them up and nailing them in the trees. And, I had my forts and hideouts and was always doing construction projects right here. Mini bikes, which led to trail bikes, which led to motorcycles. I had trails all through these fields. Of course, hunting with my grandfather, that was always a fun thing right here. But yeah, and we have a town right next door here, so I had a lot of friends that I grew up with here. And, of course, they were always over here because we had the stuff to do. We have the pond down in the bottom, so swimming in that. So there was always activities right here at the farm. We didn't have all the Game Boys and, all the stuff to do like that. We lived outside, so we were all over this property.
Those are good times.
Oh, they were great times. Yeah, I'm trying to get that to my boys, too, and they've actually enjoyed that also, being out here.
Awesome. See any deer yet, Dusty?
I'm looking. I haven't spotted one yet, but you guys will be the first one to know. I got fooled a minute ago. I was scoping out what I thought to be a thunder chicken coming over the horizon, and actually it was a nice looking crow, but I just caught a glimpse of it. And I think he was trying to fool me a little bit. My blood pressure kind of rose. I was about to say turkeys, guys, right here, but it wasn't. So had to calm down.
It's a good thing Officer Fredman Buck isn't here. He'd give you a ticket just for looking at him.
You're right, but we're going to leave Fredman Buck out of this show, and we're actually going to check out the wildlife.
Okay. So, Dave, you grew up in Pennsylvania, just having a great time, building tree stands early on. What brought you to that next level? I mean, these are not things that a kid would build.
Actually, when I was in high school, I decided that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with my hands, and I wanted to build things. So after school, I went to an industrial arts college just right down the road, Millersville University, to be an industrial arts teacher and teach woodworking. But I found after a year I didn't really want to be in a classroom setting. I wanted to be in the outdoors, so I transferred to another school, which was more the construction, applied hands-on work. And that's what I decided I wanted to do. I wanted to build stuff. So, cool. And that's what I did when I got out. I started with a contractor, and we built homes and additions and decks. But that didn't take very long when I got out of that, and I wanted to do it on my own. So I started my own company at that point. Gotcha. And was doing a lot of decks and homes and things. But what really intrigued me was the construction of the log homes. And I started that about 20 years ago, which led me all over the U.S., which eventually led me all over the world building log homes. And
gotcha.
Then in the last few years, it's like I got tired of the adventure and all over the place. I thought, you know what? It'd be cool to do something right here. And I've always been a hunter and always actually been sitting in this fence row for 25 years. So it's like I just wanted to take a little bit easy and hunt a little more. So that's kind of why I came up with this.
So you've been building log homes all over the world.
Yes.
Tell us about some of the places you've been.
The first one I did was in Istanbul, Turkey.
Wow.
That was in the early 90s. And
Why would somebody want to log home in Istanbul, Turkey?
I have no idea.
You didn't care. You're like,
I didn't
hey,
care.
I'm going.
I was ready to go.
That's cool.
And it was a lot of fun. The food was excellent. The people were great. So I had a good time there.
Cool. Where else?
Actually, just a few years ago, I built another one in Turkey, and that was in Izmir, which is right on the Mediterranean, and that was a great time. The guy we built for there, he owns the biggest water park in Turkey, and I mean, he wined and dined us, and he's got an 80-foot sailing yacht. He's all over the Mediterranean and the Marmara Sea, just everywhere. So that was a good time with him.
Jay, I'm sorry, buddy, but I may be hanging with Dave more than I'm hanging with you.
I'm boring compared to Dave, man. I'm not going to take you to Turkey to hang out in a log cabin, all right?
Don't ever say you're never going to do something running with me.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I probably won't make the plans to do it. It'll
All right.
just be a random thing we do.
Right, that's exactly right. Don't ever say never.
I'm just amazed that there's a demand for log homes in Turkey.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. I mean, it's
Right.
it's a niche market, the log home, and for somebody to actually have it, especially in a country like that where everything's made out of concrete, terracotta, tile, masonry, stucco, you don't see
Right.
any wood products. So of course, a lot of the prominent people, when they when they could actually get on the web and see a log home, it's like, holy cow,
Right.
that's really wood stuff that big, because everything they have there is you couldn't even attempt to build with. So everything's shipped over. Then we take our people over and build them.
Amazing. Are you still building log homes?
Actually, what happened, I had built quite a few log homes, and with my past customers, a log home or a log structure is something that always needs maintenance. So a lot of my past customers would call me a few years later and say, hey, Dave, the place needs stained again, or come and do this. So I started getting a lot of callbacks to go back and do things for them. So now I actually do a lot of maintenance work on the log homes.
Right.
We do chinking and caulking and restoration work and whatever they need.
That's pretty good. Job security.
You got it.
How many log homes have you built in your career?
Oh, boy. I don't know. Probably 30 to 40 range. I mean, a log home is a project typically that takes, 6 months to a year, depending on the size.
And a lifetime of maintenance and care.
You got it. Yeah, they are.
Staining, chinking, roof structures. It's a lot going on with a log home. And
Yes, it is.
I think that with 30 or 40, it's a full-time job just to maintain them.
Yes, it is.
And most folks that have a log home built, it seems that they like to have the builder come back and work where they've been before.
So when did you decide to slow down on the log home business and get into tree stands?
Well, I hadn't really slowed down on the log home business. I just amped up and started building the tree stand. This was my...
So it was an addition to
You
your
got it.
other business. Got it.
This was my weekend project for one summer. Actually, one summer when my son was home from college, we started on and did the posts, and I did a little model of it and started growing. And then, of course, I was only going to go 12 feet. Then I decided on 16 feet, and then I ended up at 24 feet in the air. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
It's kind of nice that we've talked to some guys that like to hunt 30 feet up in the air, and Dusty and I were like, how do you get up that high?
We always
It feels
ask
safe.
We always ask if they're going to get a nosebleed up there. But I tell you what, 30 feet and a tree stand by Dave, I can.
Well, that's it.
I can do this.
That's it. I would love to be 30 feet up in the air, but at some point, I get to like the 16-foot level. I'm like, all right, that's enough. I'm good. But in this, all day long.
All day. Well, I'm sleeping here. I'm not going home.
That's the thing. You can actually hunt longer than you ever could. So, and part of the thing is sometimes when you're outside is it's really hard to sit. And the reason it's hard to sit is because it's not comfortable. I do a lot of stalking and tracking. That's kind of the type of hunting I do. But if I had an area where I could visually see a decent amount of distance, I'd stay there all day. But in this type of environment, it would make me a better, more successful deer hunter because I'd see more deer.
We walked into this tree stand, and the first thing I noticed was a deer tag, a grunt call, a thermos, a pair of loafers, and 2 heaters burning.
And bullets.
And bullets. And I realized that I must be in heaven.
A can of chicken noodle soup over on the corner, a couple things of Chef Boyardee, and a Coke. That's what's here. It's fantastic.
It is beautiful.
So when do you start hunting usually around here?
Daylight.
Daylight? What time of year?
It's November.
November.
Yeah.
So you could sit here from November. When does the season usually end in Pennsylvania?
It's only 2 weeks for rifle season here.
Wow.
And this is a little bit too high for archery, but
Right.
we have archery stands around.
So 2 weeks, you could sit here the whole 2 weeks
Oh, yeah.
and be comfortable.
I'll see you in 2 weeks. There's no sitting here. I'm living here for 2 weeks.
Right.
It's daylight to dark. You can comfortably sit here, daylight to dark, throw out a air mattress, and have yourself a bed and a hunting stand.
Right. The minute that the sun comes over the horizon, you're already up and moving around.
I've had coffee by then.
Absolutely.
We got a coffee pot right here on the table beside us.
Don't have to worry about scent.
No.
It's all contained. They're going to be used to the exterior scent of the building, so it's no big deal there. They're used to the structure at that point. Let's get into some of the construction stuff. Who's on your crew?
Actually, the guys that I've had for quite a while that have helped me build the log home, so they're very knowledgeable in the techniques and the construction of the log industry.
Gotcha. And as far as just the construction of the building, what's it made of?
This one here is made of 6x6s, which is a native white pine from the area here.
Okay.
So we could get those locally at the sawmill, so we can get it fairly inexpensive because it is milled, just within miles. So that's very nice. That keeps the cost down. But we also do them out of treated lumber too. We can use the southern yellow pine that is treated, which you wouldn't need to do the finishes like this. I'm just used to doing these really nice finishes on the log homes, and it just looks more attractive.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of why I've gone this route.
Gotcha. Who are your clients? Who are the people that are coming to you for these things?
Well, just this last week. I mean, this was the first we've actually advertised this last week.
Right.
And it was funny, the three of us sitting there and just to see the heads turn and everybody stop and everybody's pointing. And we must have had our picture taken thousands of times, and then of course get to talk with the people. But a lot of them are homeowners that want the backyard project.
Right.
They saw the tower that we had done, so they want to use it for the kids' playhouse. We've had people that wanted them for an observation stand just to look at the animals. I had one lady that said, I'm going to go up and watch the stars out of it. So it's a variety. It's not just the hunters. It's everybody.
I can see multiple people wanting to buy this thing.
It's a versatile high-rise, beautiful. It looks nice on your place. It's phenomenal how it's structured.
Yep. It's solid.
Time. There's a lot of thought put into this, and it's suitable for the eye. We pulled up, and it really blew our mind how nice this tree stand is.
That's the beauty of this. I mean, this could be not just a hunting paradise cabin on stilts, solid stilts. This could be a kid's playhouse. Could be a treehouse for hanging out, observation of wildlife, which is really what we're doing anyway, right? But there's so many applications. There's so many different people would be interested in having this that it's not just for the hunter. But boy, if you are a hunter, it's super comfortable.
It could be a guest house.
It really could.
Yeah, you could definitely stay the night in here. It's big enough and comfortable enough, sturdy enough.
It's like the adventure cabin.
I feel like I'm on like a vacation in here.
Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like I'm 25 feet up in the air. I mean, it's so solid. There's no sway. There's nothing. It's just rock solid.
Beautiful walk-around deck on the It's on the exterior of the building.
Mm-hmm. This particular unit that we're in, Dave, is this a model do you have a model or name for this?
Yeah, actually, this is the Falcon model.
The Falcon.
Yes.
Okay. And tell us about the engineering that goes into it. I mean, I assume that there's some plans and specs that you're trying to meet when you do this.
Yes, actually, the engineering started out because it was my own stand. I was just using materials that I had, and it was just like, I'm just going to build this, and I'm just going to, use the knowledge that I had from the construction industry to do it. So I really did not have like pounds per square inch on the loads figured out when I did it. Mm-hmm. That's something that when I decided I wanted to sell them, I did later. And typically everything I do is overkill. And having the structural engineers here, I found out it was very much so overkill.
Okay.
Overbuild.
I like overbuilding.
In our area here, we need about 40 pounds, on the floor for loading.
Yeah.
This is actually close to the 150-pound range. So you could probably take the cabin off and land a helicopter on here if you wanted to.
Wow.
That's a safety factor that, when you're up this high, it means a lot to be safe, be comfortable, and not have to worry about being safe. And this thing, I think we could drive up here with a car and park.
It's really that solid. Now, what challenges did you face trying to take this cabin, so to speak, and put it that high in the air?
Actually, this platform we're on right now is 16 foot by 20. The building itself is 8 by 12. The platform I built on the ground. and I have a material handler high lift that goes 38 feet. So we actually strapped it and lifted it up once the base was built.
Okay.
So that's the way we installed that. The roof system, I built the walls in place here. The roof system I built right down on the ground here because I have a friend that has a basement company that he actually has the lifts to put the concrete walls in place. So they brought a crane over and we sat the roof system with the crane just because it was available. And, he said he would do it. He just thought it would be a cool thing to do. So I don't have those options available on a lot of the jobs, especially when we're in the middle of the woods somewhere. Right. So then it's more a lot of handwork. So
if you don't have a crane available, in some scenarios, you can't bring in these big pieces of equipment to hoist it up. What do you do? So it's all like just pulleys and hard pushing?
Well, with this kind of a structure, you saw all the lateral bracing and all the angle bracing we have. We can actually start on the ground and work up 8 feet, build that section, go another 8 feet, build that section, go another 8 feet, and then work on the platform from that. So we're actually building scaffolding as we come up. So we're working off the stand as we're building. So the construction isn't too hard on them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, some block and tackle, lift up your beams once you get up this high. I can see it. It's definitely something that can be put together out in the woods. So if that's something you're thinking about, putting it way out, it is a very good possibility that it shouldn't be no problem getting a tree stand up.
Seems like something that would be very good for an outfitter.
I would say definitely.
One of those options that if you have a client coming in who's paid good money to be at that plantation or ranch or to hunt, you want to keep them comfortable while they're there. Because some of these guys that are coming out to the outfitters aren't necessarily your hardcore hunters. They're businessmen. They're out for the weekend, and these are the type of quarters that they might like. I would think. Now, I would like them anyway. I mean, I'm a hardcore guy. I like to get out in the deep woods and get lost and find my way home somehow using electronic devices. But there are times when I would just like to just go hang out in comfort and hunt too.
I wouldn't worry about the deep woods anymore. I would be right here in this tree stand.
Yep.
In my honey hole.
Right
outside the sanctuary where I can get a visual on what's going on in my sanctuary. I'd have a food plot they got across right in front of me, and all as I know, I'd be sitting here in a lounge chair going boom, boom, boom.
Oh man. What else we want to talk about here?
Tell us about the different models that you can offer to a client, Dave.
Okay, well, when I did this one first, like I say, this was kind of my own thing for, the family use, and I wanted to have comfortable hunting. But then when I decided to, venture out and possibly be building these for other people, I thought, not everybody's going to want something quite like this. I'll probably need something smaller for the archery enthusiast and just a different hunter. So I actually have a small model called the red-tailed hawk, and that's just a small octagon. Can be any dimension on the exterior. Can be 4 foot, 6 foot, 8 foot, single post construction with railing. So it's great for hillside, sloped areas, the thickets, real hard places to get to because construction's easy, but it's still a permanent stand. So wherever you set it up, it's going to be there pretty much forever.
I'm actually looking at one right now as we speak. You across can see the field.
Across the field down in the valley there, right?
Yeah, it looks like a very sturdy structure. And bow hunting off of that should be very comfortable.
So that's called the what again?
That's the red-tailed hawk.
The red-tailed hawk.
Yeah.
This is the falcon.
Yes.
So it's a smaller version. And does it have a covering? I can't see it from where I'm at. No cover. So it's just an open stand type concept. Got it.
It's more like a shooting platform that looks real comfortable.
Is that the one with a single beam holding it up?
Yes.
Gotcha. All right. I'm curious. How do you keep that balanced?
Actually, that's in the ground 4 feet, and then it's concreted in. When we did it, we did have some sway in it. But if you guys noticed on my stand, I had a metal ladder that went up to the one at the show.
Yep.
That actually has 4 bolts on each leg of the ladder. So there's 8 lags going into the 6x6 perimeter of that. And then it is a structural steel ladder, which goes into the ground, and that's concreted. So that gives you your second point of contact to the ground. So when you have that concreted in, there's no sway in that at all.
Okay, so you're going 4 feet in the ground. Concrete.
Yes.
And then you've got connector bolts and things to connect, again, from the perimeter of that structure, the base of that platform main beam into the concrete itself.
Got it.
Like you'd see any tall, big light on a street or anything that's going to be a single pole.
Yes.
Got it. Amazing. All right. What other kind of structures do you have? What other models?
I have the Kestrel, which is actually a 2-post construction. That you can go a little bit bigger. The model that I have, the small mock-up model that I have of it to show is 7 foot wide by 14 foot. So that's very nice for a table or multiple hunters on. And with that 2-post construction, that also has a steel ladder that gives it the third leg. So that gives it the stability that you need.
That's more of a family stand. Nice railing around it. It's comfortable, safe. It look real nice for, say you're taking your kids out to the woods for the day. You could go there and actually sit and be comfortable. And if they need to walk, there was room to get up and move a little bit. It just looked like real sturdy and family convenience.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So we got 3 models right now. We've got the Falcon, the Red Hawk, and the Kestrel.
Kestrel. It's one of our birds of prey here in Pennsylvania.
Okay. What is a Kestrel?
A Kestrel? What's
it look like?
Oh, it's a multicolored. It's very pretty. There's some red on it, some bluish on it. I had to look it up yesterday and show some of the customers. They said, "What is a Kestrel?" I said, "It's one of our birds of prey in Pennsylvania."
How do you spell that?
Kestrel.
Kestrel. Interesting. I just learned something. I never knew about that bird. That's the power of a podcast. You learn things you never even knew about. So I've learned about the Kestrel bird and that log homes are in demand in Turkey.
There you go.
Awesome. Any other models, Dave?
Yes, we have the Kite. The Kite is actually a 3-post, so it is a triangular sand. That one we actually just came up with when we were working in Florida. I said we needed another model, and there's some people that are leery of the single and the double post. They just don't think it looks that structural.
Right. Well, mentally, like
exactly. They're looking at it on our little things like, well, that thing's going to fall over. It's like, okay, if you think so. So actually, the Kite has the 3 legs, so that is very, very stable, and that could be done on hillsides too.
Gotcha. So you could do 1 leg, 2 leg, 3 leg, and that's basically how you're kind of tiering your models. 1 leg, 2 leg, 3 leg.
Correct.
Is this the best of the best?
Yeah, the 4 legs are the most stable by far. Correct. But we do these when we get to the height. Of course, there's no way we would come this height with a single leg or double leg.
Gotcha.
We're 24 feet in the air. We need more stability, so that's why we have this.
So with height comes instability. Therefore, you must add a leg or 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how far up you're going to bring these structures.
As far as the weight that it can hold, there's no problem with a couple legs as far as the PSI, the weight from the stand, because like I say, we don't utilize near what we can hold on these stands.
Right.
But it's just the movement.
The movement, gotcha.
Yes.
You don't want it to be tumbling over in a big windstorm or whatever. Gotcha.
This one's going through quite a bit up here.
Gotcha.
We've had trees in the fence row blow down, but...
Right. And you get into some of these big open fields, the winds must blow through here pretty rough.
You got it.
So you got four models we've discussed. The Falcon, which is the top end.
This one, yes.
You've got the Red Hawk, which is the basic. You've got the Kestrel, which is the 2-legged version.
Yes.
And the 3-legged version, what is that called?
That's the Kite.
The Kite. Okay.
Yes.
So we've got 4 versions to pick from. Do you have any other plans for other models?
Actually, our logo is after the bald eagle. That's kind of our premier stand. And
okay.
You guys think this one's something. Wait till I take you down and show you that stand.
We can't wait.
Gotcha. And that one's under construction at the moment?
The platform itself is on what we're sitting on.
Yep.
And I have the octagon walls built. I do not have the roof on yet.
Okay.
Correct.
So is this the first model or the first of its kind for that model? The one you're about to build?
Well, the one at the show was also a bald eagle, but it's just like a miniature version. The one you saw at the show is about 1/5 of the size of the one you're going to see.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Now, what made you decide to name all the designs after birds?
Because I couldn't think of anything else.
We like that.
I like it because birds fly high, and so do these things. That's what I like about it.
I could have named them after brands of beer or something, but I didn't know if that'd be appropriate.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know if you'd sell as many. It doesn't. A can of beer wouldn't symbolize being high in the air and enjoying yourself like a bird would.
I think his next one's going to be the Jay and the Dusty.
There we go.
The Jay and the Dusty for the extra support. You might need 5 legs
Yeah.
for stability.
There you go. Yeah, the Jay and the Dusty. That
So you don't
Dave,
want
can we talk about that?
So you don't want the Dusty and the Jay?
Well, we can do the Dusty and the Jay or the Jay and the Dusty. Either way, it's going to be awesome.
Gotcha.
You guys draw it up, we can build it.
All right, we'll do that. Where do you want to take your business, Dave?
Well, actually, I had no idea until this last week where it was going to go. It was like I said, this was our first show. We just thought we could, build that first model that we had, and if we sold the model, then we would go from there. And that's kind of what happened. It sold the very first day of the show.
How many did you sell at the show?
Well, we have 18 people that have said they wanted them. that we took information on. We had 4 or 5 that want to start immediately. You know, I gave them rough ballparks, and they said, we're ready to go. We're ready to get started. Of course, now the next few days, we're going to be making phone calls and, you know, doing orders, and then the big thing will be taking a deposit for them. So until you, you know, till you're to that stage, just because they said they wanted doesn't necessarily mean it. But yeah, we have quite a few, actually. I was very, very surprised.
Speaking of money, tell us about the price points on the 5 models we're talking about.
Okay, the model that we had set up in the show, the Bald Eagle, is 12 foot in height, and the octagon measures 10 foot across. So you end up with a 10-foot octagon. So, you know, comfortably you could have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people, table and chair on that. And that price starts for the kit, which is you would get the instructions how to install it. Everything is pre-cut. You get all the posts and the girts and the laterals and the angles. You get the steel structural ladder. You get the treated decking with it. And that price, our show price, was $2,700.
Okay.
Our actual price was $3,200 on that, but we had a show special down there.
Okay, so show special saved you about $500.
You got it.
That's a great price. Really is a great price. You know, do your research and check the price on that, and look up Dave Treestands by Dave. That's a great price, Dave.
Thank you.
That's a great price, and unique. This is unique because these things are not only functional; they're beautiful. So if there's anybody in your house who might say, "Hey, don't be putting a tree stand in my backyard because it's ugly," you can throw that out the window.
Yeah.
So these things will beautify your landscape and your home. So that model, the $2,700, was a show price for which model?
That's Bald Eagle, the
Bald
10
Eagle.
foot.
That's
yes.
the big one.
Yes.
So that's your high end.
Well, the Bald Eagle, we can do multiple sizes. The one you're going to see in the bottom is also a Bald Eagle.
Okay.
But like I said, that is 22 foot across at the top.
Gotcha.
You know, we're not, it's big as, you know, it's bigger than this one we're in right now.
So like the Falcon and the Bald Eagle, it's scalable.
Exactly.
And you can add size and
you got it. Like the model we're in here now, this model, the kit for all the material is $16,000. But I mean, you're looking at a home on this one.
Right. So you could build a structure, a Falcon, a Bald Eagle for $16,000 based off of the size that you wanted to.
Correct.
The one that you had at the show, which was a smaller version of that, ran $2,700 show price,
yes.
$500 or more normally.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can see this branching out with you having the knowledge that you have, that you could add a restroom facility. You could put a kitchen.
Sleeping quarters.
You could literally have a tree stand in the woods that you could live out of for a couple of weeks.
Right. What about the scalability of the other models? Could you scale up the Red Hawk?
Yes.
You could. How big could you make the Red Hawk and still make it stable being on one leg?
That one we wouldn't go more than 8 foot.
Okay.
8 foot octagon, which is still a pretty good size.
Okay. So you can go 8 foot on the Red Hawk. And what would it cost for, what's the typical structure size that you do a Red Hawk?
6 foot.
6 foot.
Yes.
Okay.
And that model, I don't know my papers, but it's right around $1,200,
Okay.
$1,200 or $1,300.
Okay. And to go to an 8 foot octagon for a Red Hawk?
Probably $200 or $300 more.
Okay. The next one up from the Red Hawk is the Kestrel. What does that go for? That's the 2-legged model.
That was a 2-legged. That was a 7 foot by 14 foot platform, and that one was $1,700.
Okay. And is that one scalable too?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. How big would you go with a Kestrel?
Actually, I would only go a couple feet bigger than that one, unless we went with larger posts, which we can also do too. We just found an area that we could get some 8x8s and 10x10 treated posts.
Okay.
Then we could go much bigger.
Okay.
But we're just exploring that field right now.
Gotcha. All right. Next level up from the Kestrel is the Kite.
Yes.
That's the 3-legged version. What's the platform on that one?
That one, the outside dimensions of the triangle measure 8 feet.
Okay.
That's the model that we have built, but we could do
scalable on that one?
We could go anything with that because you've got the stability with the 3 posts. I mean, we could make one side whatever and add another post in between the sides, so we could...
The starting price, starting size, the base level size for the Kite, how much is that?
The Kite we had at, I think it was around $2,100.
Okay. And then the next level up is the Falcon.
The big boys.
The big boys. Now we're getting into the big boys.
Yeah.
What's the base price for the Falcon?
This is actually the only Falcon that I have built, so it's pretty big. But we could do a lower model, and we could do a smaller platform size. Like I say, this one is 16 by 20, so you're looking at a pretty big platform here. But we could do 10 by 10, 12 by 16.
Okay.
We could do anything. This being at this height, because like you said, we are 24 feet in the air on this one. This is the one that's 16,000.
16,000. If you want to do an entry level 10 by 10, let's say 15 feet in the air.
You're probably going to be around the $7,000-$8,000 mark.
Gotcha. And then the premier would be the Bald Eagle, and that would run north of 16,000.
Yes. Yeah, you're probably in the $20,000 range for that one.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question, Dave. Can you give, like you did the show price, could you give a special price to some of our Big Buck Registry fan listeners?
I suppose we could work something out.
Okay. We'll work on those details later.
Okay.
But if you mention Jane Dusty on the Big Buck Registry.
Maybe we can do a month after release that he can honor that show price for the series he had at the show.
Absolutely. Sound fair?
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Right, we can do that. All right. What else, Dusty? Got anything, other questions for Dave?
You know, I was sitting here and for real thought I seen a dog running. Thought it was a coyote, and then I focused real good on it. You got squirrels around here the size of dogs.
They're eating my tree houses, I know.
What are they eating? I mean, there's something in here that they love.
I have no idea. I can't figure it out.
It's like they're eating the shellac or something. What's the shellac they use?
Actually, it's an exterior preservative we're using. It's made by a company out of Colorado. It's called Transformation Stain. It's made by a company, Sashco. It's what we use a lot for our exterior preservative on our homes.
Gotcha. Awesome. Very cool. Anything else you'd like to tell us, Dave?
Nope. Had a good time. Appreciate it.
Think we covered it all?
Yeah.
You're doing awesome things for tree stands, Dave.
Thank you.
This is a revolution in tree stands right here.
We thank you very much for inviting us out, and it's been great.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks, Dave. Dusty, that's a wrap. Before we wrap here, Dave, tell people how they can reach you to start inquiring about buying a Dave Hoffman tree stand.
All right. We are on the web right now. It is Treestands by Dave. Just www.treestandsbydave.com will get you on our webpage. We are adding some more models on it right now and doing updates, and we're adding pictures as we're building.
Got some turkeys out there?
We got a thunder chicken crossing the field, 2 of them. Can you see them up there on the ridge? Look straight up here.
Oh, there we go. I see 2 turkeys now.
Oh, yeah. Here they come. Beautiful.
Where there's 2, there's usually about 30 of them, so just keep watching.
Well, we'll keep watching. Pretty cool.
So www.treestandsbydave.com. We're sitting here watching 2 turkeys from 25 feet up in the air, crossing the field. They could care less, and it's because we're sitting here watching them, and they don't know we're here. And it doesn't get any better than that. Imagine if that was a big buck walking across that field.
I don't know if there's a podcast out there that can say that they was doing a podcast watching turkeys cross
Watching
the
wildlife
field.
in the middle of God's country. Dusty, how can folks reach you?
www.facebook.com/Chubby Tines Outdoors. Jay, how can folks reach you at the Big Buck Registry?
All right, Big Buck Registry is www.bigbuckregistry.com. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Big Buck Registry. You can always give us a call at 724-613-2825 and just leave us a message, give us some feedback about this show or any other shows that you've listened to. And you can just give us maybe some details about a hunt. You can also leave a message for Dave at that number, and we'll get you, if you can get to Dave, we'll definitely get him on the horn for you.
And if you talk to Dave, call and let us know. It just sparks my interest, how Dave's doing, and hopefully some of our listeners will reach out to Dave. I'm going to speak up personally, me and Jay both. Great guy, great business, great tree stands, phenomenal work.
If you have a tree stand by Dave already, give us a call, leave us some feedback at the hotline again, 724-613-2825. You can always find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Blueberry, Libsyn, and as always, if you love this show, if you love hearing about tree stands that are 25 feet up in the air, forward any of these shows to our friends. And let them know what's going on over at the Big Buck Registry. Dave, thanks for joining us.
Had a good time. Thank you very much.
Dusty, I think that's a wrap.
It is a wrap, and we are 25 feet in the air doing a podcast, and Tree Stands by Dave on his own private farm. Thank you for having us, Dave.
Watching 2 turkeys.
We will be back next year in the Bald Eagle. We are going to come and do, maybe we can do a 2-hour show next year in the Bald Eagle.
Yep.
And maybe Dave can have a special guest from in town here in Lewisburg, PA.
Share a hunt that he might have been on during the year.
Maybe we can get the mayor or something to come join us.
There we go. I think Dave is the mayor.
He could be. He could be.
Yeah.
Are you the mayor, Dave? A lot of people know Dave.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I'm Jay Scott.
And I'm Dusty Phillips.
This is the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast. See you next week.
Can't wait.